Hello and welcome to episode 42 of Daryl Show Your Work. And in this episode, we'll be putting on our blue hats again in the role of a system administrator. So I'm just going to be showing some simple commands that we could type into our command line here in order to be able to gather information about users and groups within a Linux environment, and also about our system as well. All right, so to get started, I'm going to specifically start off by focusing on user and group information. How can we find that information? We wanted to know, certain things about a user, certain things about groups on our within our enterprise or within our domain. So we could start by doing a command. I believe I showed this last video. Um, ID. All right. And so when we run this, this is going to display the user's a user identifier, the UID, their username, their GID, which is their group identifier, group names, and all secondary groups that the user may be a member of. So we hit enter on that, and like I said, we can see here that the UID that we're currently used for us, since I didn't type another user after ID, so it's going to do our username by default. So the Cali users UID is 1000, their group ID is 1000, their groups is 1000, and so on as far as the different type of groups that they're in. All right, so the next, if I wanted to just to get a list of all available groups that the user is a member of, and didn't want so much of the user information in itself, I could just write in groups with an S. All right, and so that's going to narrow this down. We can see these same groups listed up here, but they gave us the identifier. So this just takes away the identifier and just tells us all the different groups that the user is a part of. And again, because we didn't specify which user, it's going to identify myself by default, and just let me know all the groups that I am a member of. And just also wanted to reiterate on this line right here, there are primary groups and secondary groups. So our primary group is Cali, and we know that based upon the group identifier up here, and then it gives us a 1000 ID compared to the 24, excuse me, the 20s IDs and so on that it gives for the other groups. So our primary group that we're in is Cali, and everything else beyond this are secondary groups. All right. The next thing I wanted to touch on is how can we view a history of successful login attempts, and we can do this by typing in. I'm gonna type in the command first and then just kind of explain what each part of it means. Type in a command called Busybox and then last. So Busybox is an implementation of many Unix commands in a single executable file. It essentially combines tiny versions of many common Unix utilities into a single small executable. And then moving over to last, the last command reports the history of successful user login attempts, and the system reboots by checking the var log wtemp file, and the specifically that directory, that var log directory, that's where the information about all login attempts are stored. All right, so I want to run that. All right, so it gives us a pretty long list here, and just so you know what we're looking at, we're looking at all logins, all logouts, and all system reboots. So you'll see some things here that'll say system boot. I'm looking for a reboot. I believe it specifies reboot. Here we are on the left. So here you'll see like reboot, and then other times these would be log in and log out um, entries. So that's how we see we could use that Busybox utility along with last to be able to get a history of successful login attempts. And this again in a situation dealing specifically in a incident or an incident and us responding to some sort of incident. This will help us to be able to build a timeline of events if we're looking at a particular account, and be able to see, well, when did they successfully log in, when did they successfully log out, when did they reboot, and correlate that with other logs that with those times that we're giving, those dates and times, to see, hey, is this date and time synonymous with some other type of anomalies we've seen in other logs, to be able to put all of those facts together to be able to tell a story about how an incident came to be. All right, so moving on, let's say we just wanted to gather some system information about what we're about this, whatever system we're running on. All right, so the first command that we can run to do that is the uname command, and this is going to display all the basic information of a system. So I'm gonna hit enter. It should give us a pretty basic response. And we can pretty much see here that it just simply responded that we're running on a Linux operating system. But there's several options available which we can run along with this uname command. So we can run a -a. That's going to give us all information about the system. We can run just a -s. That's going to give us the kernel name. We could do a -n. That's going to give us the node name that we're running on, or we could do a -rr, which is going to give us the actual release of the kernel of the operating system, or the distribution of Linux that we're using. So I'm going to run this again, and I'm going to do a -a so we can see all of that information I'm referring to. And this is what I meant. So this is going to give us again that kernel information, the node name, all right, and then it's going to give us the kernel release date and things of that nature. So this is all of the system information. If we just wanted to be able to know that what version of what distribution of Linux that we're running on, what is our particular node name, um, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so let's say we wanted to know how long was our system up for. We want to know the uptime for our system. So that command is pretty simple. It's just simply uptime. So this is going to show the system's current time, how long it's been up for, the number of users currently logged in, and also an average number of processes over the past that's running over the past uh, 1, 5, and 15 minutes. So I'm gonna run that to show you what that looks like. All right. So again, this is the current time. All right, and it's showing us what the uptime is on our system, how many users are logged in, and then again, how many processes have been running as far as the last minute, the last 5 minutes, and then the last 15 minutes. All right, so the next command that I want to show here is called the which command, and that's going to show where a command would execute if a direct path is not specified. So let's try to run which against the cat command, which we typically use to display the information of a file onto our terminal here. So let's see where the cat where the cat command executes from. All right, so this is saying that the cat command by default, it runs from user slash bin. All right, so that is the default directory that it runs from. All right, so that's the which command. And then let's say I wanted to run the wc command. And what this is going to do, this is going to display the number of lines, words, and characters or bytes contained in a text file or any input that's supplied within a particular document. All right, so I'm gonna say which, and let's see, let's try to do a line count first. I'm gonna say wc dash l. All right, for line count. And then we're going to look into the Etsy directory, and we're going to be looking at a file called profile. All right, so I just want to know what the total line count is within that profile document. So I'm gonna hit enter. All right, so if we look here to the left, all the way to the left, it tells us that there's 34 lines in there. All right, so but that, of course, just like with a few of the other commands that I've talked about in this video, that's not the only option that you can use with WC. So we have, and I'll use just a few of these here. And you can always go to the help page or the man page to find what these other options are, but I'm going to show us a few examples. So if we run the W command instead of the L command, instead of displaying the number of lines, it's going to come back to us with, it's going to print out the actual word count of that document. So we can see that there's 111 words in the document. So then if we change this from a W to a C, all right, now it's going to print out how many bytes the document is. All right, so we can see it's 769 bytes. And let's see one more option we can use here just to show what this WC command can do. If we if we add dash M, it's going to print out the total character count, which is again 769 characters in all within the document. So those are just a few commands that we can run on a Linux command line to gather some basic user information, to kind of be able to look at some successful logins made by a user, be able then to again be able to correlate those login logs with other logs that may be available in relation to certain events or certain incidents. And then ways we could also find out certain information about our system, and about its uptime and about its specifications, and on certain documents that may be within that system. Again, helps us to be able to enumerate details that may be relevant to a specific incident that would then be able to help us to narrow down some deficiencies or some points of entry, some attack vectors, or some place within our system that we may need to harden. So that brings us to the end of our video. Please like, subscribe, and share. Most importantly, show your work. Until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.